Really excited to talking with you, Frank. You have spent your entire professional career in the pursuit of innovative ideas that help people communicate and collaboratively be successful. You have held high-level marketing and sales positions in several global technology companies, including Digital Equipment, AT&T, Bell Labs, and IBM. And over the past 2 decades, Frank started up new companies focused on innovation and total talent management. Unleash your talents is a quote from your landing page of your current venture, Smrt.bio. Could you please tell us more about it?
Yeah, with pleasure, Klaus. We are using the phrase unleash your talents, I would say especially for the millennials in the marketplace. When I take a look at my kids, when I take a look at young people, there is a hunger to unleash their talents. And when you take a look at what's happening in the marketplace, especially coming in from a recruiting perspective, it is rather flat. People are requested to tell the other about their skills, about what they have done in the past, but not that many people are asking, tell me, what is your passion? What drives you? And that is something where I think we should allow people to really unleash their talents, to unleash themselves. And that's the reason that we are using that phrase. It is so important to unleash your talents. Yes?
Mm-hmm. And that is really what separates Smrt.bio from other talent management programs out there, right?
Yeah, correct. What we are trying to do, Klaus, is the following. When people enroll into the service, we are not asking, tell me your competencies, tell me your skills. No, the first question we ask is, please share with us your passion. Again, what drives you? What is the fire inside of yourself? And the ultimate goal is to celebrate the passion that is delivered by the others. And that is something else. What is puzzling me, what really is of interest to me, how can you help people to celebrate that passion? Don't become something you don't want to be. Try to become something you want to be. Mm-hmm. And how easy is it when you celebrate what Mother Nature has given to you? Celebrate. Mm-hmm. And that is, I hope, what is putting Smrt.bio apart from other services on the web. And as we know, there are many. Yeah. Yes.
And can you give us a use case or a couple of use cases? Maybe?
Yeah, I can. Smrt.bio in itself is what we call a total talent platform, meaning that we are not only focusing on the recruiting side, but also on the personal development side. So it is a combination of the two ultimate aspects. What we are doing with the recruiting side and how we are putting ourselves apart from the competitors is that everybody is expecting to be matched with vacancies or internships. I would say that's a rather flat service. Everybody is doing that. But how often have you experienced it yourself, Klaus, that when you apply for a vacancy that sometimes you have the feeling they're asking something from me that I don't have at the right level? Wouldn't it be nice that somebody or a service is helping you to improve yourself? And that is what we are doing within the recruiting process. Everybody that is applying for a vacancy or an internship on Smrt.bio by default is receiving personal learning advice. You don't have to search for advice. It's instantly offered to you. You can click through learning advice and you are pointed to the right universities or TVET institutions with one click of your mouse. I think that's a good example how we are putting ourselves apart from the rest.
Mm. And therefore, as an applicant, you're getting closer to what recruiters expect because of this personal development piece.
Sorry.
Right? Because of this personal development piece, you're adding to your own strength. You're adding what recruiters expect to get from a new employee or from a new intern, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's absolutely true. And that brings me to the second user case that we have, is that as soon as a person is hired by the employer, wouldn't it be nice to offer each and every employee an appraisal process as almost a gift after the recruiting process? Just to share you some numbers, Klaus, we have done market research here in the Netherlands, but also in Europe, and in the meantime also in Africa and in other parts of the world. And the net result is the following: roughly 90% of all the employers employ less than 20 employees. So let me repeat that phrase. 90% of all the employers employ less than 20 employees. We have done interviews with them, and the message is as follows: not everybody is offering an appraisal process. Not everybody is offering lifelong learning. Not everybody has an HR infrastructure. Or to be very precise, hardly any of those employers have an HR infrastructure, do appraisals on a constant basis, or offer lifelong learning opportunities. This is affecting roughly 50% of the total labor force in Europe. When the policymakers are talking about lifelong learning, and you know that 50% of the total labor force is not helped, supported in any way, we are forgetting 50% of the labor force. Isn't that silly? Shouldn't we improve ourselves as policymakers? I think we should. I think we should, Klaus. This is true for Europe. When I take a look at what's happening in Africa, we have running business in South Africa, in Durban and in Cape Town. Youth unemployment goes up 40+%, in some regions 70%. In townships, more than 70% of the youth, so between 16 and 27, is out of work. Does that mean that they don't want to develop themselves? Is there a possibility to tap into their brains, to get them involved in society? And when you think about it, and when you think about how you can do it, it's really through the phone, through a mobile phone. Everybody has a mobile phone, also in South Africa, also here in Europe. Why shouldn't we use this phone as a sensor and allow people to take part in a service, to play with little games, to profile themselves, and in the back office of the service, to do big data analysis and come up with a matchmaking principle to match people with work opportunities, internships, and with learning opportunities. I think that makes absolute sense in the world where we live.
So you are providing basically to employers, which are predominantly small and medium-sized businesses that do not have a dedicated human resources department and processes and things like that. You offering the services to them to grow, appraise their employees and find the right employees in the same way as you grow based on the individual's passion.
Right.
You grow them, you develop their skills and their competencies to increase that match.
Absolutely, Klaus. That's the essence of what we are doing. We do it at large scale.
Yeah, that is fantastic. You know, turning a process that in the past said, hey, this is what we have to offer, and we focus on selection now into really a shared interaction that grows employees or people into becoming a valuable part of an employer. That is really fantastic.
Yeah.
And how do you measure that impact? Was it kind of lower churn of employees? People stay longer with their employers, or how do you measure that impact?
Yeah, that's a good question. There is a micro angle to that question and a macro angle. So let me first focus on the micro. So what is the effect between the employee and the employer? Is first of all, the relationship between the two is improved. First, that the employer can start asking questions that have an impact in relationship with his employee. I don't know what your experience is, Klaus, but let me share you mine. When you hire people, how often do you hire people because you like them? And sometimes it makes much more sense to bypass the question, do you like them, and move on to the next level. What do you really need in your company? How do you want your company to grow? So that is resulting in the question for the employer, how can I articulate my real demand? Well, many employers have the problem to articulate their demand. Just by saying, I need a carpenter or I need a truck driver, that is not good enough anymore. You have to be much more specific, and the more specific you can be, the easier it is for an algorithm to tap into the profiles that are available within a system. And as soon as you're hitting an algorithm, suddenly there is no need to invite a middleman, a recruiter that is making the connection. Because the algorithm is automatically presenting to you the order of all the applicants on your screen so that you can start inviting, according to the algorithm, the best fitted candidate. The net result of that implementation is that the employer does not have to pay the recruiter. And we both know that this is a costly exercise in money, but also in time. And now you can do it yourself without spending the money. You can do it on your phone. Yes? So that's the first effect. The second effect is as soon as the person walks in, who you have selected for an interview, and you're going to hire the person, you can ask questions that really have a meaning for your specific demand. And as soon as the person is hired, you go on to the next level and you say, how can I help you to improve yourself? Because when people improve themselves, they will become more productive for the company. And that was the ultimate goal. Yes, that's at micro level. At macro level, there is a different angle to it. When you roll it all up, suddenly what you can do, and we have a service for that is called Cockpit Work, you can analyze all of the passions within a region. You can say, my region is predominantly people and data oriented. Well, if that would be the case, and you have the possibility to invite Tesla into your region to start a new gigafactory, then you could ask yourself, do I have the right passion profile to help Elon Musk to be productive as of day one? Well, with just people and data, that is not good enough for Elon Musk. You need more things and data-oriented people, I guess. But it's better to go back to Tesla and ask that question, yes? So from a macro perspective, some call it foreign direct investment. So when you are developing your region, suddenly you have much more data that is helping you as the director of the municipality or the region or whatever to articulate your demands by inviting new employers into your region. Yes?
Yeah,
am I
yeah,
talking?
absolutely. And probably also you identify much more easier what training needs, what special support needs you can implement in your city or in your region.
Absolutely. I was shocked, Klaus, when I was in Africa. There was a director general telling us for the last 30 years, we have offered educational services to our youngsters, but we have never asked the question to employers, what do you need? For 30 years. Well, the situation now, and especially for the millennials, you and me, we have an age that maybe in our career, we made 5, 7 career steps. Well, our youth, they make 5, 7 career steps the first year of their career. So there is a much more agility need to constantly develop themselves. And within that context, it absolutely makes sense to make that linkage constantly with education, with learning, with training. Mm-hmm. When you leave university, when you leave a TVET institution, that's not the end of learning. Mm-hmm. It's the beginning. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's the beginning.
Yeah. So you just mentioned South Africa. I know that you are in the Netherlands, you're in the UK, you're in Poland. So you are becoming a global company, kind of an international company. What are some of the challenges that that you see, that you face as you scale into these different cultures and different regions?
Yeah, that's an important question, Klaus. The first challenge that we faced was the following. We started the service, I would say, from an academic perspective. What is going on? What is the value chain? How does it work? And finally, we had a service that we tested. In some markets, we were rather successful. In some cases, we were not successful at all, by the way. That's also true. But what we realized was that it is rather difficult to explain to the market why it makes sense that the 4 key stakeholders on the labor market, being employers, individuals, education, and public sector, are working together. From a society perspective, I think it makes sense. From a commercial perspective, it could be the case that it does not make sense to tell that difficult story. So we have to trim down our story. So in essence, employers want to be matched with the best candidates. They're not interested in the first place that it makes sense to have that linkage with education. They're not interested why it makes sense in the region to improve the economic power of the region. Yes. So that is a challenge we face right now. How do we explain that it makes sense? And again, maybe it doesn't make sense at all to explain that we have to cut up our services in different targeted segments and not disclose the logic of the combined approach. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. So that's a struggle. That's a struggle that we are going through right now. Mm-hmm. And we are inviting partners of ours. So in the UK, we have an interesting partner who says, this makes absolute sense. They have 15 different companies, Klaus. And it starts with a company in foreign direct investments, and it ends with outplacement services and everything in between. And they say it makes absolute sense to follow the careers of the people throughout their careers. And sometimes you will be hired, sometimes you're in an outplacement process, That is what's happening nowadays. So it makes sense. And in other situations, we are really focusing on one single implementation. So when I take a look at Poland, for example, we're only focusing for the moment on economic migrants coming in from Ukraine to Poland and to Germany. That's the only focus. How can we match people? How can we profile them at the border? How can we match them with work and internships in Poland and in Germany? That's what we are doing there.
Mm-hmm. But very significant impact on the individual, right, and on the region overall.
Yeah.
And what I also like about it specifically is that it raises the game for the employer to on a more strategic level, rather than just saying, hey, I have this open position now, and I just need to fill it as quickly as I can. Mm-hmm. I fill it with the right person that has the right profile, that has the right values, and that has the right passion in order to help me and us as a company succeed.
Correct. That's correct, Klaus. Yes.
Fantastic. Really, really, really fantastic. So what's coming next for you? Where are you heading? What is, when you look into the rest of the year or into 2020, where are you heading?
Well, the focus for 2020 is the following. We have 5 locations in which we are active. That is Krakow, Poland, Germany, Berlin, the northern region in the Netherlands, Manchester, what they call Greater Manchester in the UK, and we have in South Africa, Durban and Cape Town. The goal is to have 5 locations that will become reference sites within their own right. So when a new region would say, I'm interested in an implementation to do innovation in less favored areas, social economic areas, target groups, then the message will be go to Berlin. When you have an interest to do an implementation for economic migrants, go to Poland, go to Krakow. When you're interested in an implementation across different companies, go to Manchester, where we are implementing the Smrt.bio backbone. That is the focus for 2020. So 5 different implementations making use of the same application to attract other regions so that we can stuff qualified sales leads with regions in 2020 to be populated by mid-2020 and beyond. Yes, that's the focus.
Mm-hmm. Very good. So if you could give a little piece of advice to all the listeners and viewers, what is it, maybe the one thing that from your perspective everyone should learn or do or experience in order to fulfill their passion?
Yeah, what should you do, Klaus? I think the challenge in everybody's life is to celebrate yourself. Be happy with who you are. Mother Nature has given everybody of us, talents, and every talent is different from the other. Celebrate your own talent. I think that's the starting point of everything. Mm-hmm. Really, that's the starting point of everything.
And that enables that unleashing of the talent?
Absolutely. Absolutely. When you know what your passion is, it's easy to find your strengths. It's easy to define the competencies that are needed to execute a certain job or task. And it's easy to accept that some competencies need to be improved. And as soon as you do something with passion, and you realize that you have to educate yourself in a certain competency, Klaus, that's easy because you like to do it.
Yeah.
It's difficult when you don't like to do it. So start with the celebration.
And I guess without putting words in your mouth, I guess then the advice to employers and regions is embrace that passion, right? And build systems around it to really bring it forward to, on one hand, to the success of the company or to the success of the region.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I want to come back to one of your questions. What was a difficult challenge for us?
Yeah.
I've had many conversations with employers. And when I was bringing up the subject of passion, most of them were saying, Frank, this is so soft what you are doing right now. I want to talk about competencies, about skills. That's hard. Well, the essence is passion is the hardest thing you can hit, because you cannot change passion. You cannot change it. Competencies are relatively easy to change, to educate, to improve. The passion is what you have. Yeah? And as soon as you realize the value of passion in selecting the right people above competencies, then suddenly some employers have the guts to say, I'm going to hire a person that has all the passion to execute the job, who has not delivered all the competencies yet. But this person is better compared to another one that is delivering all the competencies that I'm requesting, but that lacks the passion.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's important, Klaus.
Absolutely.
That is so important.
So, so when we go back to the individual, right? So in my daily interactions with young people as well as with more advanced professional people, sometimes their passion is a little bit buried and they don't see it that much. Through your service, are you offering people to discover that passion, to find out more about themselves? And is that, how much does that cost?
Yeah, that's a relevant question. First of all, yes, we offer the service for a person to discover his or her passion. We do it through a serious gaming exercise. It's a little Tinder-like game. Within 2 minutes, that is disclosed and you can play with it. How much does it cost? Nothing. Just sign up. Smrt.bio, smart without an A, .bio. And sign up. For the moment, we have the service available in Dutch, English, and in Zulu. It will be available soon in Polish, Ukrainian language, and German. And I'm sure there will be other languages added in the near future. Yeah?
So people can discover their passion and might find the right job for them at their current life.
That is correct. That's absolutely
very cool.
correct. Yes.
Very, very cool.
Yes.
Thank you very much for this very insightful conversation, Frank.
It was a real pleasure to be with you. I really enjoyed the interaction with you. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
Cool. Thanks, Frank.